Hey folks, welcome back to Honey Money SG. Now, by the time you're watching this video, it's actually like 1 year from the time I've recorded this. In fact, I recorded this video on the March of 2022, right? Where we are still having a Russian-Ukraine war. Tell me, is the war still going on at this period of time? Just to prove you guys that this is really March of 2022, right? Here is the Tesla price. Y'all can go and take a look. And at this period, we are having a really great crisis on the war because like oil has risen past $110 and we do have supply chain issues. COVID is still a thing right now. We are still wearing masks on the street. Are we still doing that right now in 2023? I certainly don't hope so because I really want COVID to end really soon. So I really hope that by the time that you are watching this video, the world is at peace now. We don't have any more ongoing conflicts between countries because I really want the world to be a better place. Now, the reason to make this video is actually to share with you that quitting my job is actually not a rash decision. It has many thoughts put into it over the years and over time, and I just want to record this video at this moment in time, but I cannot publish it back then is because I am still working for the same employer, so that won't really look too well on me. So just to give you guys a background of myself, I'm actually a supply chain analyst working in the logistics sector in a manufacturing firm. Now the pay is not very high, but at least it's decent enough for me to make a living. The workplace is friendly as well, the bosses are really good, so this is really not a complaint on the toxic work environment that is forcing people to quit, right? The great resignation like 1-2 years ago, you heard it. So I'm not that part of the camp. I'm definitely not quitting due to a toxic work environment. But I just want to share with you guys the reason that I am quitting or leaving my job. Now, the number one reason and the primary reason is really to get out of the rat race. You have heard of the rat race many times, right? Basically, it's more like after you have graduated from college and then you will go into a full-time job, and because you have the full-time job, you will have some lifestyle inflation, you have higher expenses, and maybe you are getting into more debts, right? Like going into housing debt, you have a car loan to service, you have a family to feed, and you keep going on in this rat race because you're constantly churning money to actually pay off your liabilities. And it's called a rat race because the higher you climb, the more expenses that you have to provide, and you probably look around at your friends and family and realize that everyone is advancing further than you and higher than you, getting higher incomes while you're still at the same stage getting your low stable pay. So I felt that that is enough. I don't really want to compete with other people getting out of the rat race. I don't think that climbing the corporate ladder is my calling. I don't aspire to be a manager. I don't really like to manage people because I felt that my abilities and skills are more on the creative side, which also means that I really want to like what I want to do, but I cannot starve, right? Because a lot of people, when they chase passion, they actually give up the money aspect. And because they do not have cash flows coming in, they actually have to give up on their dreams and get back into the rat race, doing jobs that they hate or do not like, right? And sometimes maybe in a worse state like toxic work environment, poor bosses, and also bad colleagues doing like office politics with you. So what I'm trying to do here is really to get out of the rat race, do something on my own, and really just try to survive, right, on my hustles that are generating consistent cash flows. And I really do not have the motivation to actually go and trade time for money, because that's what they all say, right? You're like trading your time for money when you're doing a full-time job that you may not really like. So that is me. I felt that business is more scalable than a full-time job. Now I know that everyone is really shocked, and at a dire time like this, I feel like what we have to do right now is to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and thank our sponsor for today, Webull. The good news is that Webull has significantly reduced their deposit requirements to just a mere 100 Singapore dollars for Feb 2023. But I think you should deposit much more than that, because one of the requirements is that you need to buy a US stock of minimum 100 US dollars, as well as buying one options contract, which you can follow through in this tutorial, where I show you how you can buy a SPY call option with close to 1 US dollars expense. Now once you have fulfilled both of these requirements, you are entitled to 100 US dollars as long as you have not made any withdrawals for at least 30 days. To add on, if you want to stand a chance to win up to $1,888 worth of Apple fractional shares, then you have to subscribe to one mutual fund and hold it for at least 5 days via the Webull app. And I'll show you how to navigate and do it, right? You could just follow this tutorial and this recording on how I did it. So you see, the maximum reward that you could receive for Webull February is $1,988. So hurry up and use my referral link down below or scan the QR code right here to sign up for your Webull account today. Now, the second reason I wanted to share with you guys is really to find my purpose, right? I found my purpose, and that is not really in a day job that I could do. I started YouTube in January 2021 as a real hobby, right? In fact, I even told my company in my personal introduction page that my hobby is making videos and publish them on YouTube. And that's how they got to know that I'm doing YouTube. You see, I did not like hide it away from my company, telling them that I am doing YouTube on the side and I should not tell you, or maybe I should declare to HR. In fact, I announced it right on my self-introduction on my slides. I told them I'm doing YouTube. And at that point, I'm definitely not earning any money because like when you start out, nobody really watches your videos, right? But of course, with the constant grinding and churning of good quality videos over time, you definitely do not start out really perfect. But as you build up more experience and more quality and more network over time, your videos get to improve. More subscribers will come in and watch, and your videos get to reach out more people that will spread the word. So that's like a network effect, you see. People will recommend your videos, YouTube algorithm will recommend your videos, and that's how my channel started to grow. So when I was finally monetized in July 2021, then I started to see some income coming from YouTube, right? The YouTube Google AdSense, whereby I could place ads on my video and earn a little bit of income. But that's not the only source of income that I could get from YouTube, right? I could put in like affiliate links where you can sign up, that you can get good sign up bonuses while I could get some commission as a referrer. And I felt that I could actually impact more lives on YouTube compared to my day job, because remember in my very old video where I talk about quitting my most profitable job, which is tuition services, right? I told you guys that actually giving tuition is a very one-dimensional thing because you're still trading your time for money, and you could only impact one student's life at one time. Even if you give like multiple tuition services, right, you're just impacting that one student. But what I'm sharing and discussing on YouTube can really impact many lives across the world, across boundaries of geographics and of course time. Yeah, sorry, my memory card ran out of space, so I had to record this on another session. So I was talking about time and space, right? Just like my video was recorded like 1 month back, and now I came back in another month to talk about it. And you are watching this video 1 year from the time that I have recorded it. You see, my video will stay in this space forever, but my work done will only stay within the day to my boss or my superiors within the month, right? What I'm trying to tell you is that your contribution towards work is only to your bosses, to the company, and that is actually a very limited target audience that you could impact. And if you do YouTube, or if you be a content creator and influence others in their ideas or to help them lead a better lives in terms of financials, then I think you're creating a bigger impact across time and space, right? And it's not limited to just geographical locations. Ideas can be shared across the world if they are applicable, and they can be shared through different timelines. Whether you are watching this 2 years later, 3 years later, the ideas may still apply to you. So that is the meaning that I'm trying to deliver. I think it is really very difficult for people to say they have found a purpose in life because things are so dynamic. Trends are changing over time. Even the COVID-19 pandemic hit a lot of businesses really hard. So it's more important to stay adaptive in this kind of dynamic situations that we are in right now. But I think the fact that finding your purpose, it should not be fixed. You see, it can be a great idea and branch out to several other realities. For me, it's finding my ikigai, which means doing what you love, doing what the world needs, something that pays you well, and something that you are good for. So this is the kind of ikigai Japanese concept that really encompasses the financial independence retire early movement. It's a step higher than that because there is really meaning in what you do. You see, in my previous day job, right, I was churning Excel sheets, churning analytics reports, doing presentations in the midst of a Ukraine and Russia war. At that point in time, I was thinking, the world is going through such turmoil. People are fearing whether their homes will be destroyed. And here I am at my office cubicle, churning Excel sheets. Are you kidding me? Because I felt so much for the victims, right? They really didn't had a chance to really go and chase what they really want to do. Their priority is surviving through the war. And maybe that means fleeing from one city to another, or in fact, moving to another country and become a refugee. I know whatever I say here is at a privileged standing because right now I am in Singapore. It's a relatively safe country. We don't have a lot of conflicts going on within this country itself. So I'm really from a privileged position to say this. But I felt that if you were to die in the next few years, would you want to be churning Excel sheets on your office cubicle and laptop instead of helping the world be a better place. And that ran through my mind several times, the thoughts of these people that are suffering through the war. So I think it's more important, right, to find your purpose. Whose lives do you want to impact? And I really want to impact the young adults in Singapore because financial literacy is not taught in schools, and there's really a lot of things to be learned to enable them to have a better financial well-being. Now, you know that money is the root of all evil, right? And a lot of arguments or disagreements actually come from money. You see married couples really fighting over money, and divorced couples fighting over assets, and children fighting over inheritance of their deceased parents, and people worrying about whether their retirement funds are sufficient for their old age when they are no longer working, or their children is not filial enough to support them. So if everyone can do their part by learning financial literacy themselves, then I think it's a greater good for everyone in this world. But of course, we certainly cannot force everyone to go and learn financial literacy, because you cannot expect people to be mature enough to really go and accept that financial literacy is part of their lives and maybe they should go and take some action about it, because people all want short-term gains, right? Short-term gratification. At that point in life when you're young, maybe you want to go and explore the world and go and do some crazy shit stunts, and you want to spend your money on parties, on drinking, on women, because you only live once, right? But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, are all these pursuits worth it? If it's worth it, then good for you. I think people all have different perspectives and opinions about their own lives that they should lead, and we should not interfere. But at the end of the day, are you being a liability to others? Are you being a liability to your parents? Are you being a liability to your kids when you are retiring and you have no retirement funds? So that's also the reason why I started this channel, right? To share what I have learned. Maybe it may not be right to you, but to other target audience, it may be the right message for them to really wake up and take charge of their own personal finance. And through doing YouTube, right, I discovered that not only I can help a lot of people, but I could also network with other people with similar mindset, people who are online creators on this space as well in the personal finance. I really love to talk to them, right? Because we have similar mindsets, but sometimes the target audience may be wrong, right? Because it's really quite sensitive to talk about money, especially in Singapore, Chinese, Asian context. So YouTube is really my own platform to voice out my own opinions, whether people like it or not. I don't really have to bother too much about people's opinions unless they are really constructive feedbacks that I could really learn from. But I guess this kind of discussion is kind of deviating from my quitting my job story. So maybe I'll do a part 2 next time in future when I have further thoughts, or if you have further questions on why quitting your job is really a good or bad idea, you can comment down below. I'd love to hear your comments and maybe make a content video out of it. I mean, I really do have more free time now, so I really wish to create more content around this kind of retire early movement, what are the pros and cons of it, or maybe I may have regret it several months down later, right? But if you really do want to retire early, then one of the steps is really to take care of your own retirement funds. And this is what I did back then in year 2022, where I reached my CPF full retirement sum in this video here. With that, thank you for watching. My name is Christopher. This is Honey Money SG in March 2022, steering young adults to financial independence.